This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them E's.
And we are back at it with a jam-packed show. As always, it's kind of becoming my thing, Mark, to say jam-packed show. But before we get into it, want to pump our Patreon page for a second. If you're listening like you always do, you love the show, you support us each and every week, go check out the Patreon page down below so you can give us a little extra support and get some cool rewards for you in the meantime. But we're going to be talking about some, like I said, jam-packed topics today. Can't say it enough. Most improved teams after the NFL draft. We're going to be talking Brian Hoyer and the Chicago Bears. And then we're going to be looking at rookie quarterbacks for 2016. But before we get into these most improved teams, I mean, the biggest story from draft night had to be Laramie Tunsil and the fall of Tunsil.
Yeah, it definitely was. It surprised me. So those of you who follow me on Twitter at the Mark Weber, you would know that I was not watching the draft at first. I did not start off watching the draft. I was instead watching little kids sing about whales.
Was it a good concert, by the way? I didn't ask you.
It was nice. It was quick. Okay. I like quick.
Those are the best kind of concerts.
Exactly, because you can enjoy the kids not really, being amazing, being kids as they are.
And then you're done with your life.
Yeah, exactly. And my life that day was the draft. I was happy. Only like 2 picks had happened by the time this show was done.
Oh, so
that's how quick it was.
So you had the ones we knew about.
Yeah, exactly. I was good. I checked it, and I was like, oh, everything is good. Everything is confirmed. Then the surprise happened. At least a little bit of a surprise. You see, Laramie Tunsil, not number 3. Okay, Joey Bosa, I get it. I was still saying that it was surprising that he has fallen so far off on everybody's boards. Now I'm going, okay, cool. Cowboys, they take Ezekiel Elliott. Not surprising. I had it in my mock draft. Moving forward, all right, Laramie Tunsil, not yet. Okay, not yet. Still hasn't happened. Okay, the Titans are here. They are going to do it. They traded back because they just somehow knew they would get their guy anyways. Oh, Conklin. What? That is when everything was thrown off, and you were like, what's going on? Then Stanley goes first to the New York Giants. He goes before Tunsil, too.
Well, he went to the Ravens, you meant.
Oh, the
Stanley
Ravens.
went to the
Ravens, of course.
And the one thing I want to throw out there, the Ravens said after the draft that, hey, you know what? If the video that came out about Tunsil smoking into the gas mask, if that never came out, they would have taken Tunsil
exactly.
at 5.
And it surprised me because I didn't know that had happened yet.
Oh, it was,
and I had no idea. And I'm sitting there going, "What happened? What is wrong? What is going on with these teams that they're passing on this great talent?" Then finally, I found out.
Yeah, see, me, Dave, and Sean, basically the fast break guys, were watching the NFL draft, which was weird. Basketball guys watching.
You guys had no idea what was going on.
But I mean, they showed the picture, and it was like time stamped 10 minutes before the draft. I'm like, oh shit. This is like
so
career
damaging.
breaking. And then it comes out the text messages, and Tunsil was an interesting, like, as a fan, I was like, oh, well, this is what makes the draft exciting.
You love it, yeah.
Like, and I mean, I feel for the kid because I don't think he deserved all the ridicule he got because the picture was from how many years ago? Well, the picture was from how many years ago? You could be on the side of the argument, as I know Dave is, where it's like, whatever, it's a little bit of weed. Yeah, it's illegal, but it's a little bit of weed. The NBA doesn't have this problem.
Some states, it's not illegal.
Then you have, well, the one that we're in right now.
Yeah,
is,
but
so
I'm just saying to support Dave's argument.
But I mean, it's kind of this thing where the NFL, the war on drugs for the NFL, when you don't see this problem in the NBA, that's Dave's whole case. But I mean, he didn't ask for this, and he fell, and then what he had to deal with in the press conference, I didn't like that either. And the one thing I will say, me sitting at home as a fan, loved the fall. Hated that I saw him fall because, yeah, he lost, what was it, $7 million?
He's still a millionaire.
Just from 5 to 13. Oh, well, yeah, he is still a millionaire. He's going to be making way more than I'll make in my lifetime. But when Roger Goodell comes out and says, that's what makes it exciting. Fuck you, sir. This is your player, your organization, and you just blatantly said, yeah, I'm in it for the money. Whatever makes our league money, which I knew you were about.
Yeah.
But when Goodell went on Mike and Mike the next morning and talked about how that's what makes it exciting, you as a boss should not be. You can think it, but you shouldn't be saying
Goodell is not the player's representation. He's the owner's representation. He doesn't give a shit about the players. And I don't mean that in the way that a lot of you people are going to take. He is not
Free Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
He is not their representation or anything like that. He is for the integrity of the league, but the owners, and the actual teams themselves. The Players Association, if they had said that, there's an issue. I don't have a problem with Goodell saying it because Goodell is purely the moneymaker, the businessman. I don't necessarily like it, but that's his job. That's his role.
His exact comment was, and I quote, I think it's all a part of what makes the draft so exciting. Clubs make decisions. Sometimes they take risks. Sometimes they do the right things. Sometimes they don't, and we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what I find fascinating about this is the fact that so many teams were very willing to say, yeah, we took off-field things into consideration. Basically just blatantly saying, yeah, we saw him smoking weed. We're questioning him now. We didn't have time to investigate.
Well, and the thing
we weren't going to take that risk.
The thing I think about with this is I don't know if it's necessarily you smoked weed, you're a bad person.
They just don't have the time to investigate and find out.
Or it's okay, well, this happened 10 minutes before the draft. I know what Goodell likes to do if you do this on my team. I see what has happened with Manziel and Josh Gordon. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's just a headache I don't want to deal with. That's why I think people passed on Tunsil. It had nothing to do with his character.
Well, I don't know. I think some teams
It had more to do with, you know what, I'll take the guy who doesn't so I don't have to deal with that
I think
problem.
that's part of it, but I think a lot of teams are saying, we haven't had time to investigate this yet. We know there's issues with Ole Miss. Ole Miss is questionable for some of its players. Let's just not do it because we don't know what's going to happen with this guy. We saw Johnny Manziel. We saw Gordon. We've seen this happen now. We're passing.
I'm going to say a great quote that I heard from Michael A. Smith on Around the Horn that next day, which was Friday. They were talking about this. He goes, I don't know what the big deal is. He hit a bong, not a woman. And boom, that was the mic drop for me. Like, okay, cool. Like, that was it. Where everything else that's been going on, he hit a bong, not a woman. To me, was it the most bad thing to happen? No, but I can understand why teams
I don't blame any team for
him.
passing on him for it.
However, the Dolphins, you get a steal.
Yeah. Well, this is my thought. It goes one of two ways now. He either uses it as the chip, and he's going to be an absolutely incredible player. He's always going to have that in the back of his mind. Or the other way is he's going to let it break him. And he's going to turn out to not be that great.
I think it's going to be more of the chip. That's the way I see it. I think so, too.
I definitely think, I think there's a lot of good things going on in the future for the Miami Dolphins. And this is the first one. Also, I do find it funny, though, that his first press conference he's supposed to have, he has an allergic reaction right before it. That just looked suspicious.
You texted me, and I was like, wait, what?
You didn't show.
Because I got the ESPN notification on my phone to watch it. I'm like, I'm at work. I can't watch it.
You would have watched, the bosses essentially going up there and talking.
But you even said Adam Gase said that they're not even going to play football at rookie camp?
Nope, no football at rookie minicamp, which I think is interesting. So it's just going to be a classroom, basically. The whole mentality behind it is there's like a wall that rookies will hit towards the end of the season, but not at the end of the season. So like November, December, where they've been working so hard. They just played 12 games. Then they started training immediately for the draft. They get the draft, they immediately get into, rookie minicamp mode. Then the OTA, all this type of stuff. And then it's the season. So they're working so hard, they didn't give themselves any break. The Miami Dolphins want to give them a break.
They didn't get an off season, basically.
Yeah, and they're giving them the break, and they're also just doing good stuff. Like, they're training them just to say, all right, we're going to study the playbook. Mm-hmm. We're going to learn all about it. We're going to learn about the schemes. We're going to learn about what you can do. But we're also going to learn about how to be a Miami Dolphin, how we want you to be off the field.
And it's that last part that you were saying. This is more of Adam Gase saying, hey, you know what? I saw what happened before me. This Dolphins team doesn't have an identity. We need to make that identity. What is it to me that means to be a Dolphin?
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that this idea is happening because with a team like the Dolphins, you need that because there's been so much negativity around the team, and this is going to be a coach kind of grabbing control of that.
And look at the biggest team in your division, the New England Patriots. That team has an identity. That team they might cheat and things like that every now and then, but they're seen as, some people are going to hate me for saying this, but they're seen as the class act kind of guys. If you're not the button up that suit and get ready to go, Belichick's kicking you out of the locker room.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You got to be Belichick's guy, and you've got to be. They're the preps in the room. That's the way I see it. They're like the lacrosse guys that the nice button ups, the suit jackets, drinking their nice champagne. Where you've got the Dolphins in the corner of the room drinking their Busch Light, or their Keystone Light,
their Natty Light.
The one thing we got to get into, we've already been 10 minutes. Let's get in on most improved team of the draft. I'm going to get started. Usually I kick it off right to you, Mark, but I'm going to take this one because there's a team that I think made themselves with the draft. They were already a playoff team, and yes, they won their division because another team had a huge injury, but even with that quarterback coming back this year, they have already taken the free agent signings, made it even better with the draft. The Houston Texans. I'm going to say it right now, spoiler alert, AFC South champs. They're going to win the division. I love, the pick of Fuller, I loved it. They could have gotten any wide receiver there. Yeah. Anyone. And it would have been a great home run. But, I mean, Will Fuller, he was a guy that it was either him or Treadwell that I wanted to go to my Vikings. The only move that I kind of questioned was they traded up one pick with the Redskins, unless they really thought the Redskins were going to take him, which they didn't. They went with Doxson. Or
the Redskins said, hey, I got someone on the line who's going to take it. Do you want to stop it?
That could have been it, too. But they go with Fuller, which is great. They get Braxton Miller, who is another great...
Yeah.
Mark can't hang on to his phone this podcast, guys. He's dropping it all over the place. But Braxton Miller, who's going to be a great... The way I've seen it described is, he's still developing, but he can be a Wes Welker type guy in the slot, except he won't get concussions because he's actually of good size for the wide receiver position. And then their second pick, because Braxton was their third rounder, their second pick, they get a big hog molly in Nick Martin, who's the brother of Zach Martin, who's with Dallas, what does Dallas have? Oh, yeah, that's right. One of the best offensive lines in the league. So you get a guy to protect the middle. You get two brand new toys for Brock the Cock to play with, cock-a-doodle-doo. And, of course, you got Lamar Miller in the backfield.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I'm excited to see how Miller's going to perform in the NFL. Is it going to be some Wildcat, anything like that? As much as I hate the Wildcat.
I don't think it's going to be Wildcat because they got Brock the Cock, and I don't think Bill O'Brien's going to play around with that.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you have to, but at the same time, those guys like to try and do that kind of trick play, those type of things like that. But I really have to say, this is kind of obvious in a way. It's kind of unfair the way it goes, but the Dallas Cowboys should not have been as high up as they were. Their team is not that bad. But injuries let them be a top 4 pick. And they get the best running back in all of the draft, who probably in a couple of years is going to be the best running back in the NFL. They have Ezekiel Elliott. That's really all they needed to do. All they needed to do was get that one thing to kind of put them back where they were just before. That's all it was. I mean, really, there's not very many teams that are one player away. This was a team that is one player away. And that kind of changes everything. You talk about winning the AFC South. This is a team that pretty much just got themselves a pretty decent lock on the AFC or NFC East as long as they don't mess something up. As long as there's not an injury and all of a sudden, Tony Romo's gone, Des Bryant's gone, Ezekiel Elliott's gone. This is great. I mean, they've got one of the best offensive lines already. Now they have one of the best running backs. No questions asked. The Dallas Cowboys did the one thing they needed to do to put themselves in the playoffs. Not very many teams have it that easy like the Dallas Cowboys just did.
Well, the other things I like about the Cowboys and their draft is, they get Zeke, but the second round pick, they go ahead and I would have taken, to me, honestly, I would have taken Miles Jack instead of Jalen Smith. However, tomato, apples and oranges.
I mean, either one's a risk. Either one's going to be a risk.
But the only reason I'm going with Miles Jack is because he's the one that I know for sure is actually going to play in his career. Jalen Smith is still a question mark. I know they were showing the film of him kind of getting ready and, he can run on the leg. But, he's still a question mark to me. He's still a question mark. I think he's going to play in his career. I think it's going to be a good pick. But I also like the Dak Prescott. I think he's going to be a guy that can develop.
But the thing I wonder about Dak Prescott really is
his comparison is Tim Tebow, but he can throw.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got better mechanics than Tim Tebow.
My thing I'm scared about with Dak Prescott is if Tony Romo has some issues he's had always of injuries, does he get forced to play too early, and does that kind of ruin his development? Because they're drafting a guy like Dak Prescott to be their starting quarterback in a few years.
Yeah, the heir apparent.
Is something going to mess that up and cause him to come in too early and kind of ruin that and kind of throw him off course? Something I'd be nervous about.
I don't think so. To me, the guy I kind of think that his career is going to pan out like is Colin Kaepernick. And I know right now that may seem like, whoa, Ricky, what do you got against Dacky Boy? But no, the way I see it is he is going to become the heir apparent to Romo. He may push Romo out sooner than Romo wants because of injury and age.
Injury is definitely going to be an issue there.
And I could definitely see a mini issue of, okay, we're going to go with Dak because he's younger. He's been here. Kind of think of Romo. Romo could be the new age Brett Favre, where I'm not done playing. I'm going to go play somewhere else, and he'll play 2 more years and then retire.
Possible.
I don't know when that will happen, but that may happen. Like, Cowboy fans, be weary for that, because that may happen.
Well, I think a thing, too, is when you have a team that's set up this well, it's a great team. Just 2 years ago, they weren't worried about whichever running back was back there because they thought the rest of the team was good enough. The same thing could really be said about the quarterback once you have that great running back there of say, it doesn't matter who he is, as long as he doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
As long as he's not making mistakes. So all Dak Prescott would have to do is go in there, do well enough, don't mess it up, and we might have Brock Osweiler and Peyton Manning again. All right, do you go back to your veteran who's done so much for you, been very successful, or do you say this young guy, hey, we know we're going to give the keys over to you eventually, we got to do it now. And if anything, like Jerry Jones and the Cowboys might be saying, hey, we got to do it now because look at what just happened. Brock Osweiler, the relationship was ruined. It's not just that he was a free agent and was able to leave. It's that he did not want to come back because of the actions that had taken place and that they chose to do how they chose someone else instead of him.
The way that I've heard it outside the mouth of Sean Anderson, I believe he got this from someone else and I can't remember who. So don't yell at Sean if he's not the originator of this quote, but the way he described it is what Zeke brings to this team as that first round pick. Dez is Michael Irvin. Romo is an older Troy Aikman. Zeke is Emmitt Smith. They've got the trio back in this team, but I'm going to move over to a different team that I love what they did. That's the Buffalo Bills. Just looking at their 4 picks alone, I mean, Shaq Lawson, Reggie Ragland, and Adolphus Washington. You get every phase. Well, not every phase. You didn't get safety. You got Kelvin Seymour in the 7th round. But you get 2 guys on the defensive line, which you needed. You needed a defensive tackle, and you needed an end. Boom. You get it with Lawson, who I love. I thought Lawson was Lawson or Dodd. we're going to go to the Bills with the Clemson connection.
Yeah.
You get Adolphus Washington, a fucking big body to put there from The Ohio State University. Then Reggie Ragland in the second.
I thought he would actually sneak his way possibly into the first.
I thought he was going to be the Falcons. Dumbest move they made was going with Keanu Neal over Reggie Ragland. You needed a linebacker, and how do you do that? You draft a middle linebacker. Reggie Ragland could have been for the Falcons what Brian Urlacher was for the Bears when they took him 10th overall.
Reggie Ragland is a great option who really fell off for a lot of people. At the beginning of the draft season, he was looked at as top 15 pick.
Well, he's the best inside linebacker in this class, no doubt.
For sure. I think a kind of an unfortunate thing is it really was defensive line and pass rushers is what this draft was about for the defensive aspect.
Look at the Bears. They traded up to get a pass rusher.
Yeah, exactly. They really, a thing which I know some people were confused about, but the Bears were convinced if we don't grab this guy now, someone else is going to.
Well, they thought the Giants were going to.
Yeah, and who knows? They might have. They might have grabbed that guy. And then apparently, I mean, my thing with that is, did they really value him that much higher over Vernon Hargraves, who was still there? Apparently they did.
You guys need a guy who can get after the quarterback.
Hey,
That's
I'm
what
just
the
saying
Bears
our middle of our defense is pretty terrifying right now.
But I mean, to get back to the Bills, like, you look at this draft and just with the first 3 picks.
Well, this is what Rex Ryan needs.
You could tell this was a Rex Ryan that's like, fuck it, I got to make the playoffs.
If he doesn't make the playoffs, he's fired.
Exactly.
So,
I got to make the playoffs. So I'm going to get Shaq Lawson on the outside. I'm going to get Reggie Ragland to man the inside of this defense. And I'm going to get Washington to be the big body in the middle. Oh, and then in the 4th round, just in case Tyrod Taylor has the sophomore slump. I know it's not a sophomore year, but
basically
last year was kind of a flash in the pan. It was like, whoa, where's Tyrod Taylor been? Cardell Jones comes in, which is that big arm. That's what Rex Ryan likes, the big arm. And he's not super mobile, but he's a guy that can shake and
he's
bake
a big guy too,
Yeah.
so he's gonna pull some Big Ben style out there. You can't tackle me.
I was just gonna say that. I wonder if Rex Ryan's seen enough of Big Ben going, hey, I can make this work. Yeah. And I mean,
and
at
everyone,
least it's not Mark Sanchez, right?
Everyone has seen him kind of, or has said that he's got a lot of those intangible qualities that you love. Do you really expect that teams are going to be able to rally around this guy and everything?
Yeah.
Coach Urban Meyer might say that he's not good at school. He's not very smart.
Well,
but he's a good quarterback.
We ain't talking about school, Mark.
Yeah, we're not here to play school.
We ain't here to. That's the quote I was looking for. We ain't here to play school. I got one more team to throw out there, an AFC team. I like the Bungles, the Cincinnati Bengals. What they did, they go out and all 4 wide receivers in the first round are off the board. Doesn't matter. We're going to take William Jackson the third. Then they go out in the next round and get Tyler Boyd, who's like, to me, the top tier of. Well, okay, he wasn't the top tier. Second, the number 2 wide receiver in the second round, with Michael Thomas being my personal number 1 of the second round. And then they go out and get a guy in Andrew Billings in the 4th, who to me has first round grades. He's a first round talent in the 4th.
To me, I don't know. So just the draft for the Bengals kind of spills a little bit of reaching at the beginning. It looked like they had a plan. They wanted to go in. The players weren't there, and they said, oh, well, we do like these guys. Let's grab them now. As opposed to just saying, hey, these guys are gone. Who's the best thing on the board? Let's go grab that. I think that would have been the better way to go about it. So I wouldn't necessarily agree that they're one of the best improved. Honestly, for the Bengals to really be an improved team, because they've been stuck in mediocre land for a while. Mediocre good, I should say. They got a culture change, that team. That's what it is, and that's not something that gets fixed through the draft.
And they also, to me, I mentioned them in my grade video. I'm going to mention them now. They picked up a guy who actually won a national championship in college, where me and you went to college.
Yeah.
At St. Xavier University. In the 7th round, they get Clayton Fedulum, which Brandon was kind of mad that I didn't mention it in my grade video, because I'm going to mention it now. Arguably made the biggest play in Cougar history to intercept the ball in the semis to send us to that natty.
Maybe he can intercept a ball in the NFL playoffs and send his team to anything.
Dude, he's a guy that's been fighting, going from NAIA to Big Ten D1. Now he's in the NFL. I hope he does well. Kind of that just alma mater type of thing.
Yeah.
Fucking
Hometown.
Alma mater. Then he goes to my favorite D1 team in Illinois.
Also, they got some work to do, Ricky. I'm sorry.
Who, Illinois?
Illinois got some work to do.
Hey, we got Lovey. We're going to go get ice cream after every loss.
Yep, exactly.